Hello friends, today we see HIV virus that is responsible for the syndrome complex known as AIDS in detail. This is one of the important in the second year students as it is asked as a short note. The short notes are structure of the HIV virus, opportunistic infections in case of the AIDS, secondary malignancies in case of AIDS, and diagnose a case of AIDS. This is also asked as a full question as an autopsy finding in the person of the AIDS. This is also one of the important in the Viva voice questions as it is frequently asked in pathology as well as microbiology in the second year and in the medicine, surgery, pediatrics in the third year. So this is one of the important topic that is HIV infection responsible for the disease known as AIDS. HIV is also called as human immunodeficiency virus. It is called as a human immunodeficiency because it causes immunodeficiency in the person affected and it able to infect only human beings. So it is known as human immunodeficiency virus. It is a retrovirus and family is a lentivirus. The disease caused by the HIV virus is AIDS, that is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. It is a syndrome, not a disease. Syndrome is a group of illness taking place at the same time. As it is acquired in nature, means not congenital. It weakens the body's immune system and D for the deficiency of the CD4 T cell count in the immune system. So AIDS is the acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. How will you define AIDS? AIDS is defined as it is a disease caused by the retrovirus, that is human immunodeficiency virus, which breaks down body's immune system, leaving the host vulnerable to the life-threatening opportunistic infections, neurological disorders, and various unusual malignancies. The important question is structure of the lymph node. Here you are able to see the structure of the lymph node. The HIV virus is a spherical in shape. Here you see the spherical, and in the spherical the center is the cone shaped core which consists of protein, that is P24 capsid protein. There are two strands of the viral RNA and important enzymes like integrase, protease and reverse transcriptase. The reverse transcriptase enzyme is responsible for conversion of the viral RNA into the DNA. This cone-shaped core is surrounded by the lipid bilayer, which is usually derived from the host cell membrane, so it is a proteinaceous or phospholipid in nature. It consists of two important proteins that is known as GP120 and GP41. These two proteins are responsible for HIV virus infection in the human being, as GP120 is required for binding of HIV virus to the host cell. There are other important genes which are present in the HIV virus. They are GAG, POL and NV. GAG is a group antigen which is responsible for the core protein formation. NV is the envelope that is responsible for the formation of envelope protein, and POL is the polymerase which is required for the reverse transcriptase enzyme production. Over and above these three important structural genes, there is a TET, that is transcriptor activator gene, which is required for the viral functions like amplification of the viral gene, viral budding and viral replication. After seeing the structure of the HIV virus, we see the routes of transmission of HIV infection. There are several routes Out of this, the most important is sexual transmission. This route is responsible in almost 70 to 80% of the conditions. There is male to female as well as male to male transmission is seen. Over and above this, some of the cases there is a female to male transmission is also noted. But the number of male to female is higher than female to male because the semen contain large amount of the CD4 T cell which contain HIV virus. If the person is suffering from the other sexual transmitted diseases, STDs like syphilis, gonorrhea, the chances of HIV infection is still higher because this disease person is usually suffered from the genital ulcers which lead to the direct entry of HIV virus into the blood. The other important route is transmission via the blood and blood products which is usually seen in case of the IV drug abusers who share their needles. Over and above this, the hemophilics who receive large amount of the clotting factor concentrates like factor 8 and factor 9. Recipient of the HIV infected blood and blood products, they are also involved in this group. The another group is perinatal transmission, that is from mother to the newborn babies, which is responsible for the 1.5 to 2% of the cases. These may occur before birth, during birth or after birth. Before birth is prenatal, that is usually seen during pregnancy, transplacental spread of HIV virus from mother to fetus. The intranatal is seen through the infected or contaminated birth canal and by the infected amniotic fluid. The postnatal transmission is seen through the breast milk. So perinatal transmission include all the three, that is prenatal, intranatal and postnatal. But transformation from mother to baby depend upon the CD4 T cell count as well as the viral load. If the viral load is higher and CD4 T cell count is lower, the chances of transmission from mother to baby is high and vice versa. If the women receive ART, that is antiretroviral therapy, the chances of transmission from mother to baby is restricted. The minute amount is seen in cases of the occupational transmission, that is seen in the healthcare workers, laboratory workers and class 4 persons who are involved in the disposal of the sharp waste due to the needle stick injury. The virus is also present in each and every body fluid like saliva, tears, pleural, peritoneal and pericardial fluid, urine, semen, vaginal and cervical secretions, breast milk, CSF. So chances of transmission via the body fluid is also there. But HIV virus is never transmitted by simple hugging, kissing, touching or sharing things with the HIV infected person like cups, glasses, utensils, plates, etc. After seeing the transmission, there is an entry of HIV virus in the human being, and so in that case we have to see the pathogenesis in detail. How the HIV virus affect the human host? For that, CD4 T cell count is the most important. There is a selective tropism of CD4 T cell is noted. The CD4 T cell containing cell of the human host are lymphocytes, monocytes, macrophages and dendritic cells. The CD4 T cell lead to the binding of HIV virus through the GP120 molecule. After binding of GP120 to the CD4 cell lead to the conformational change in the HIV virus and which expose another binding site on the HIV virus. This exposed binding site bind to the co-receptor present on the host cell. These co-receptors are CCR5 and CXCR4 depending upon the cell. And depending upon the presence of the co-receptor, the cell is known as M-tropic or T-tropic. Like macrophages contain CCR5, and so in that case virus is known as M-tropic virus. This is responsible for the early phase of the HIV infection because in the early stages the HIV virus is M-tropic because it affects macrophages and dendritic cells. While in the late phase of the infection, the virus binds to the CXCR4 which is found usually on the T cells, that is T lymphocytes, and so in that case virus is known as T-tropic viruses. This virus is ultimately responsible for the lysis of the T cell, and so in the late phases due to the T-tropic viruses the CD4 T cell count is depleted sharply. Once the virus GP120 bind to the CD4 molecule, it leads to the conformational change and binding of the another binding site to the co-receptor like CCR5 and CXCR4. This co-receptor binding lead to the exposure of the GP41. This GP41 bound to the host cell membrane, and ultimately there is a fusion of the host cell membrane to the HIV virus. Due to the fusion, the virus particle enter into the host cell membrane, leaving the cell wall outside. This is known as uncoating of the viral particle. This virion particle enter in the host cell membrane. Now reverse transcriptase came into action and the virion RNA is converted into the DNA. Later on, the another strand of the DNA is formed, and so ultimately double-stranded DNA is formed. This is known as proviral DNA. Later on, this proviral DNA is integrated into host cell membrane, host cell DNA, and it remains quiescent for the longer period of the time, depending upon the person's immunity. The infection remains latent for the longer period of the time. It may extend up to the 10 years or more. Later on, when the cell become activated, the cellular DNA undergo replication. Along with the cellular DNA, virion DNA is also replicated. And so, replication of the viral DNA is formed, and the other virion particles, they are also formed under the action of the GAG, POL and NV genes. So ultimately the whole virion is formed and assembly of the virion particles is formed. This virion comes out of the cell by the breaching the cell, and the whole virion particle, the outer layer is formed from the host cell membrane. So there is a formation of the gap in the host cell membrane occur. When large number of the virion particles are formed, multiple gaps are formed, and ultimately there is a lysis of the cell occur. This suggests the lysis, there is a decrease of the CD4 T cell count as they are destroyed in this process, and so the CD4 T cell count is decreased in person of the HIV infection. Decrease in the CD4 cell is also responsible for the increased susceptibility to opportunistic infections, secondary malignancies and various other diseases. The other cells of the immune system which are affected by the HIV virus, they are circulating monocytes and macrophages in the tissue, dendritic cells of the lymph node. These cells act as a reservoir of the HIV infection, and the infected dendritic cells are also responsible for the peripheral generalized lymphadenopathy in HIV infected person. The immune system cells which are not affected by the HIV virus, they are B cell, NK cell and CD8 T cell. Still, the number of these cells are normal, but the function is decreased. So quantity is normal, but quality is not there. The function of the B cell depend upon the cytokines released from the CD4 T cell. The number of the CD4 T cell is decreased. So ultimately the function of the B cell is hampered. So there is a hypergammaglobulinemia is noted, but the function is not there. Although number of the NK cell is normal, but functionally NK cell depend upon the CD4 T cell. So there is a lack of the function of NK cell. Same way, CD8 T cell is responsible for the ADCC, but for functioning of the CD8 cell, cytokines released from the CD4 cell is required. Overall, there is a decrease in the CD4 T cell count, which decreases the function of B cell, NK cell and CD8 T cell. So ultimately there is a profound immunosuppression which render the host susceptible to the various opportunistic infections, secondary malignancies and various other diseases. The other important system which is affected by the HIV virus is the nervous system. In the nervous system, the microglial cells, astrocytes and oligodendrocytes are affected. Infection carried to the microglia by the HIV infected CD4 molecule containing monocytes, macrophages and endothelial cells, while there is a direct infection of astrocytes and oligodendrocytes. Neurons which are not infected by the HIV virus, but they are affected due to the attachment of GP120 and by release of the various cytokines by HIV infected macrophages. Once we see the pathogenesis, we have to see the history of HIV infection, how it affects the person. There are 4 stages of the viral infection. Out of this, the first stage is seroconversion, during which person is suffered or infected with HIV virus, but still antibody are not developed. During this period, antibodies are developed. So during this phase, if we test for the HIV virus, the test is negative. The second phase is asymptomatic phase, when there is no signs of the HIV infection. The immune system have a full-fledged control over the viral production. The third stage is symptomatic stage, when there is a physical signs of the HIV infection are there. Some amount of the immunosuppression is there. Various infections due to the immunosuppression may be there, but still immunity control the viral production. The last is AIDS, that is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. When CD4 T cell count is below 500, the person have a full blown AIDS. When person is suffered from the various opportunistic infections, this is also known as end stage disease. The CDC gave classification for the HIV infection. It depends upon the 2 things. One is the clinical category, that is divided into A, B and C, and other is the CD4 T cell count. Depending upon the CD4 T cell count, if the count is more than 500, it is stage 1. If the CD4 T cell count is 200 to 499 per cubic millimeter, it is stage 2. And if the count is less than 200, it is a stage 3. The clinical category A include asymptomatic case, when there is some amount of flu-like syndrome, that is also known as acute HIV syndrome. In that case, person may have a persistent generalized lymphadenopathy. The clinical category B is the symptomatic cases. Some amount of the cell-mediated immunity is impaired. Person is suffering from the various infections like bacillary dysentery, mucosal candidiasis, fever, oral hairy leukoplakia, immune thrombocytopenic purpura, pelvic inflammatory disease, peripheral neuropathy, cervical dysplasia or carcinoma in situ. While category 3 or C include full-blown AIDS or AIDS surveillance case, that is CD4 T cell count is usually less than 500 and person is suffering from the various opportunistic infections like mucosal candidiasis, bacterial infections like tuberculosis. It may be typical mycobacterial infection or atypical mycobacterial infection, fungal infections like histoplasmosis, coccidioidomycosis, parasitic infections like pneumocystitis carini pneumoniae. In the person of the AIDS, we are able to see malnutrition and wasting syndrome. Wasting syndrome is loss of the body weight, that is more than 10% of the body weight without any known cause or involuntary loss is there. It occurs due to the malnutrition, due to various opportunistic infections or infections, increased metabolic rate, malabsorption, anorexia, etc. Here, the CDC divide HIV/AIDS in the 3 stages, that is early acute phase, middle chronic phase and late crisis phase. Progression of the HIV disease is measured by the CD4 T cell count and viral load. Day by day, number of CD4 T cell is decreased while amount of the virus is increased in the blood. This may be due to the immunosuppression. Here, you are able to see the 4 important category of a person of the AIDS, that is major clinical manifestations, secondary opportunistic infections, secondary malignancies and neurological involvement. Major clinical manifestations include wasting syndrome, persistent generalized lymphadenopathy. There may be various GI manifestations like diarrhea, vomiting, oral esophageal candidiasis, E. histolytica infection. Mucocutaneous manifestations include oral and oropharyngeal candidiasis and other infections. Hematological manifestations include anemia, leukopenia and thrombocytopenia. Usually these occur due to the bone marrow suppression. There may be infection of the bone marrow by the various opportunistic infections like CMV, parvovirus. CNS manifestations include AIDS, dementia complex, meningoencephalitis may be tuberculosis or cytomegalovirus infection, atypical meningitis, peripheral neuropathy, demyelinating disease like spinal cord demyelinating disease, lymphoma of the brain. CNS lymphoma is more common in person of the AIDS. Opportunistic infections. In a patient of the AIDS, this is commonly asked as a short note. There is various infections like bacterial, fungal, viral, protozoal or helminthic infection. In the bacteria, mycobacterial tuberculosis is most common, which include M. tuberculosis, M. avium intracellulare, nocardiosis and salmonellosis. M. avium intracellulare is more commonly seen in person of the decreased immunity than normal immunity. Fungal infections include candidiasis, cryptococcosis, pneumocystitis jirovecii, coccidioidomycosis, histoplasmosis, nocardiasis, etc. Viral infections include cytomegalovirus, herpes simplex type 1 and type 2, herpes zoster virus, Epstein-Barr virus and human papillomavirus. Various virus is also responsible for secondary malignancies in a person of the AIDS, like carcinoma of uterine cervix. Protozoal and helminthic infections include toxoplasmosis, giardiasis, amoebiasis, cryptosporidiosis and strongyloidosis. Secondary neoplasms in a person of the AIDS. The most common neoplasms seen in the HIV infected person, they are Kaposi's sarcoma. Usually it is unicentric in a person of the normal immunity, but in HIV infected person we are able to see the multicentric origin of Kaposi's sarcoma. This is also a spindle cell tumor in a person of AIDS. Primary CNS lymphoma is seen in the cases of the AIDS, HL and NHL, HPV associated carcinomas and bacillary angiomatosis. How will you detect a case of the HIV? This is a commonly asked as a short note. In that condition, we have to write three things. First is, how will you detect HIV infection? Once the HIV infection is confirmed, we have to detect the defect in the immunity, how much amount of the defect is there, and third important is there any opportunistic infection is present? So first and most important is test to establish HIV infection. This can be done by the two way. One is antibody test and second is direct infection or direct detection of HIV virus infection. To detect the antibody, we have two tests like ELISA and Western blot test. ELISA is the enzyme linked immunosorbent assay. This detects antibody against GAG and NV protein. This is commonly used in the blood bank for the donor screening. We gave blood to the recipient only after HIV testing by the ELISA. There is a window period of 2 to 4 weeks. This is a period for the seroconversion, and during this, even if the person is infected with the HIV virus, the test is negative. So, pseudo-negativity or false negativity in case of the seroconversion, that is window period. And in the window period, we can detect HIV infection by the antigen testing, not by the antibody. Once ELISA is positive, it is a screening test. So we have to confirm the HIV infection, and confirmation is done by the Western blot testing. Western blot detect antibodies against three antigen, that is GAG, POL and NV. These two are antibody test. These are negative in the window period, that is also known as pseudo-negativity or false negativity. So during that period, we detect HIV infection by the antigen testing, and commonly done antigen is the P24 antigen capture assay. Over and above these, we are able to detect HIV infection by HIV RNA assay method, that is done by the reverse transcriptase PCR, that is RT-PCR, branch PCR, nucleic acid sequence based amplification, that is NucliScans is there. DNA PCR by amplification of the proviral DNA, and we are able to culture HIV virus by the blood monocytes and CD4 T cells. Once the HIV infection is confirmed, we have to detect defect in the immunity. How will you detect defect in the immunity? That is done by the immunity suggestive cell, that is CD4 T cell. So in that case, we have to measure CD4 T cell, and in a person of the HIV, there is a fall in the CD4 T cell. The other cell which suggests immunity is CD8 T cell. In HIV infected person, the CD8 T cell is increased. So, when you measure ratio of CD4 to CD8 T cell count, usually it is a reversed. And this measurement is most important for giving ART, that is antiretroviral therapy. The drug number and dose is depend upon the immunity defects in a person, that is detected by the CD4 and CD8 T cell as well as ratio of CD4 to CD8 T cell. These cells are most important, and so the CDC gives classification of HIV virus depending upon the number of the CD4 T cell count. If it is below 500 cells per cubic millimeter, the chances of other opportunistic infections is higher. Over and above this, the lymphopenia, hypergamma-globulinaemia, increased beta-2 microglobulin level and thrombocytopenia is also noted. Once the CD4 T cell count is decreased below 500, person may suffer from the various opportunistic infections. How will you detect these opportunistic infections? They are detected by the FNAC or exfoliative cytology depending upon the organ involved, and this is confirmed by the biopsy, as histopatho is considered as a gold standard over FNAC. Thank you.